Kunja Vihare Jayo Jayo Yamuna Tiravanachari Jayo Kunja Vihare Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunja Vihare Gopijana Balaba Jayo Giri Varadhari Jayo Giri Varadhari Yashoda Nandana Jayo Braja Janaranjana Jayo Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Jayo Kunja Vihare Jayo Jayo Yamuna Tiravanachari Jayo Kunja Vihare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayo Kunja Bihari. Jaya Om Vishnupat Paramahansa Parivrajakacharya Tatra Shata Esi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Nitai Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 9. Text number 1. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Dasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangulangayate Girim Yatkripatamaham Bande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So texts 1 and 2, the supreme character of Jat Bharata. Shri Sukha Uvacha. Shukadev Goswami continued to speak. Atha, thereafter, Kasyachit, of some, Dvija Varasya, Brahmana, Angira Pravarasya, who came in the dynasty of the great saint Angira. Shama, control of the mind. Dhamma, control of the senses. Tapah, practice of austerities and penances. Swadhyaya, recitation of the Vedic literatures. Adhyayana, studying. Tyaga, renunciation. Santosh, satisfaction. Titiksha, tolerance. Prashraya, very gentle. Vidya, knowledge. Anasuya, without envy. Atma Jnana Ananda, satisfied in self-realization. Yuktasya, who was qualified with Atma Sadrisha and exactly like himself. Shruta in education, Shila in character, Achara in behavior, Rupa in beauty, Audharya in magnanimity, Gunaha possessing all these qualities, Nava sa Udarya 9 brothers born of the same womb, Angajaha sons, Babuvuhu were born, Mithunam a twin brother and sister, Cha and Yaviyasyam in the youngest, Bharyayam wife, Yah who, 2, but Tatra there, Puman the male child, Tam him, Parama Bhagavatam the most exalted devotee, Raja Rishi of saintly kings, Pravaram most honor, Bharatam Bharat Maharaj, Utshishta having given up, Mriga Shariram the body of a deer, Charama Sharirena with the last body, Vipratvam being a Brahmana, Gatam obtained, Ahu they said. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srila Sukadeva Goswami continued, My dear king, after giving up the body of a deer, Bharat Maharaj took birth in a very pure Brahmana family. There was a Brahmana who belonged to a dynasty of Angira. He was fully qualified with Brahminical qualifications. He could control his mind and senses, and he had studied the Vedic literatures and other subsidiary literatures. He was expert in giving charity, and he was always satisfied, tolerant, very gentle, learned, and non-envious. He was self-realized and engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. He remained always in a trance. He had 9 equally qualified sons by his first wife, and by his second wife he begot twins, a brother and a sister, of which the male child was said to be the topmost devotee and foremost of saintly kings, Bharat Maharaj. This then is the story of the birth he took after giving up the body of a deer. Purport. Bharat Maharaj was a great devotee, but he did not attain success in one life. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that a devotee who does not fulfill his devotional duties in one life is given the chance to be born in a fully qualified Brahmana family or a rich Kshatriya or Vaishya family. Shuchinam Srimatam Gehe, Bhagavad Gita 6:41. Bharat Maharaj was the firstborn son of Maharaj Rishabha in a rich Kshatriya family, but due to his willful negligence, of his spiritual duties and his excessive attachment to an insignificant deer, he was obliged to take birth as the son of a deer. However, due to his strong position as a devotee, he was gifted with the remembrance of his past life. Being repentant, he remained in a solitary forest and always thought of Krishna. Then he was given the chance to take birth in a very good Brahmana family. So we are starting chapter 9. Now the story is unfolding of the story of Bharat Maharaj. So in last chapter we witness how Bharat Maharaj, in spite of giving up everything in order to please Krishna and dedicate his life to the Supreme Lord, Prabhupada explained, by willful negligence, he ended up in a body of a deer. But as Krishna explained in Bhagavad Gita, that any little alpa asya dharmasya, any little effort in this endeavor can free oneself from the Mahatobhayat, the most dangerful fear in life, which means, although it seems contradictory, to lose the human form of life. So we were discussing in previous verses that it seems, although he was practicing devotional service, he committed some mistakes, but it seemed that verse didn't apply because he actually lost his human form of life. But we know that he was able to remember his past life, so he didn't end up in an ordinary body of a deer, but he was in the body of the deer. He was able to repent of his mistakes and purify himself and regain his consciousness, his Krishna consciousness. Now he is taking birth as Bhagavad Gita Prabhupada is highlighting, in a family of a Brahmana. And he will have all advantage to practice a spiritual life, but even though he will avoid all the duty from Varna ashram pertaining to Brahmanas, and inward he will be completely self-realized, although externally he will be known as Chada Bharat, or as an Avaduta, someone who externally behaves like a fool, but internally is a self-realized person. So I didn't prepare so much, but the purpose, Srila Prabhupada, is very clear in the points. So he's just referring to Bharat Maharaj as an example as a practical examples of the verses from Bhagavad Gita, when Arjuna asks Krishna about the future of the destiny of a yogi, of a spiritual practitioner who... I will read the verse so there is better vocabulary to explain. So Arjuna's doubt was as follows. This is chapter 6. Arjuna said, "O Krishna, what is the destination of the unsuccessful transcendentalist who in the beginning takes to the process of self-realization with faith, but who later desists due to worldly mindedness and thus not attain perfection in mysticism. And this is the question of many of us also, who may try to engage in a spiritual life, and then we may ask, but what if I can make it? Or if I, for example, what about if I join to the temple and I give up all my material aspirations, but then I fall down or I commit mistakes, and then so I won't gain anything, not from the material point of view, and I will be a failure also in a spiritual life. So this is a question, I think, who of you have ever wondered about that? Every day? Yeah? Yes, can be an everyday question. After you took a decision, and maybe you just follow in a spiritual life just because you say, I cannot come back. I'm already in this path, so I'm too late for the other path. Yeah, I went too far now. So then you may take shelter of the following verses. Then Arjuna continued explaining. He gave a very nice analogy. He said, "Oh, Krishna, does not such a man who is bewildered from the path of transcendence fall away both spiritual and material success and perish like a riven cloud with no position in any sphere?" So that's an example. The analogy that is given Arjuna is very practical. We see sometimes in springtime a cloud that is apart from the big group of clouds, and then the wind is taken away and it's becoming transparent, and suddenly disappear. So that's can be the life of a spiritual practitioner. Sometimes we see devotees that come to Krishna, Hare Krishna movement, and the first year they do very well. They go like this, and they even become very popular among the devotees, maybe through book distribution, etc. And then they go like this. And they say, "Oh, Bhakta, such and such," and everyone talks about Bhakta. So he's maybe in previous life he was practicing Krishna consciousness. Many very nice things. Everyone put a lot of faith. But then, after a few years, someone asked, "Do you remember Bhakta such and such?" "Yeah, I haven't seen him for years." And, I saw he's working or he's doing this thing. And also sometimes devotees who practice for a long time, and they did an amazing service, but somehow or other they end up doing other things and give up a spiritual life. So it's a wonder what happened. One may ask, what happened with this devotee, after he died, devotees weren't around him, but he did a lot of service. Or this devotee, at least he did a little service. So Krishna will explain now. This is in two verses with the same number, 40. in chapter 2:40, in chapter 6:40, Krishna assures or gives confidence to the devotees that there is no loss in this endeavor. So Krishna explained, a transcendentalist engaged in auspicious activities, Kalyana Krit, is auspicious activities, it's very important, does not meet with destruction either in this world or in the spiritual world. One who does good, my friend, is never overcome by evil. And Prabhupada quotes another verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, which also gives confidence to any spiritual practitioner who will take the path of bhakti. Tyaktva sudharmam charanam bhujam harer bhajan apakvota patettato yadi yatra kava vadram abut amushakim kovarta apto bhajatam swadharmata. If someone gives up all material prospects and takes complete shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there is no loss or degradation in any way. On the other hand, a non-devotee may fully engage in his occupational duties and yet not gain anything. So in these cases or situations, we are talking about yogis or spiritual practitioners who give up the Dharma ashram, or the varnas, and maybe ashram duties in order to pursue a spiritual life. Because previously people used to practice Dharma, religious life, but nowadays many of us we are giving up adharma, a life of adharma, in order to practice devotional service. So it means that we are giving up a bunch of sinful reactions that we are going to get by our activities, and we may be complaining, I'm giving up so much sinful reactions for practicing devotional service. But actually what we were supposed to get by the activities we gave up is just suffering. But in this context, what a spiritual practitioner was about to give up was Dharma. Like he was following Varna and Ashram, and they may give up a religious family or his duties in the Varna and Ashram, which means that they will get so-called good karma, which means that they will go into the heavenly planets. After if they die, they may go to heavenly planets, or they will have a good birth in material standard. So they may say, oh, I was going to get such and such pleasures, and now I'm practicing a spiritual life, and I'm not going to get anything, not even in a spiritual life, and I'm losing the heavenly planets. But we can reflect, it is really our situation. What we are giving up. Some devotees sometimes are giving up jail, like a life in the jail, or maybe a life of illicit relationships, which means a lot of troubles. When you have an illicit relationship, or maybe drugs, or maybe a selfish life of thinking oneself the vimuda, the doer. Ahankara vimudadma, the kartaham, to think I like a muda, a life of a muda. I accumulate, I was working and was gaining my own money, and then I met the devotees, and I had my own apartment. It's also we are giving up a life of not acknowledging the Supreme Proprietor, the Bhakta, the Supreme Enjoyer, Krishna. This is something to think about. I was talking with one devotee during prasadam one day, and we're realizing that in Krishna consciousness, now how we practice the devotional life, we get more enjoyment actually in the temple life sometimes, like because we get more enjoyment than before. Because before many of us, maybe not those devotees who come from Indian background, but many of us were eating meat and eating all kind of like tamaguna quality food. And now we are taking like prasadam and sometimes even feast, like pigs or things like that. So the senses actually are becoming more awake to enjoyment. Because before we didn't know how to enjoy. But now, as practitioner of Krishna consciousness, we start learning how to enjoy. Like, I'm going to bed early, and then I feel better, and I can accomplish more things like that in life. But still, the mind who has the capacity to misconstruct the past may start telling us, before you were enjoying, and now you are doing so many austerities, chanting Hare Krishna, waking up early. But actually the reality is that before you were doing big karma and suffering, and now you are enjoying, and now is the time to give up dharma. So therefore, like some devotees were sharing in the class that Prabhupada said that the first 6 months in Krishna consciousness, you can eat all the prasadam you like. You can eat kilos of halava. But it's expected that later you start applying vacho vegan, manasya krodha vegan, jiva vegan, udaro pashta vegan. It's expected that one start practicing tapa, austerities, in relationship to Krishna, of course. So the reflection when we were talking was that actually we are practicing this process in the way that Prabhupada put us to us, which is very attractive. It's not like maybe in other yogi bhakti schools. Or maybe the Gaudiya Math, Prabhupada make ISKCON more like kind of paka to attract people, like nice temples and nice prasadam, like music. I remember my first time in Vrindavan, I went to a kirtan and they were like playing, instead of kartala, it's like the song was like if you take a pot and the lid of 2 pots like that, it wasn't like attracted to the ear, but they were very devotional. But if I only could appreciate because of reading Prabhupada's books, but if I would go before, or if I would enter a temple and there is that kind of sound, I will leave immediately, although the kirtan may be completely spiritual. So Prabhupada presents the movement in a more enjoyable fashion, because we are sense enjoyers. Many of us. So I was thinking how the mind is misconstructing everything. So I think our situation is really more like still we have to give up at some point something for Krishna. Now we are practicing a very nice environment, but for all of us may come the point that Krishna will say, okay, now you have to give up this and this and that. We didn't give up anything yet. We just take something wonderful in a very easy way to practice by by continue in this path, will come many tapas, many austerities, many situations in which we will have to give up dharma sometimes. Dharma in the sense of, even to put more like practical, we may enter in the temple and we go to bed 9 o'clock and we wake up for Mangalarti, chants all our rounds very religiously, go to Mangalarti every day, attend Srimad Bhagavatam, and then have our time on time for studying the books. So we have a very regulated devotional life. But then will come the point you will maybe asked to do maybe travel in Sankirtan for many years, or service will come that will cut your religious life. Like you may be chanting rounds, and will come a devotee and say, Prabhu, we need service wherever, in the altar or service. The Boga came. Then we start learning to give up certain dharma. Activities that are transcendental, actually, even more than dharma, but in order to do a higher principle, which means to please Guru and Krishna. So I continue. So that's something to think about, of what we are giving up. Usually we should embrace the Krishna consciousness movement, because the life in society is vikarma. So we are thinking that I'm giving up something. It's like thinking that you are giving up like practically a stool. It's like if you are changing a stool for halava and you still may complain, I give up this for this. I give up this putrefact food for this halava and this. So I give up this wonderful association for this. No. Usually the association we had before is all lower consciousness, lowering our consciousness, and now we are taking the company of devotees. But may come one day that you may have to give up the association of devotees, like it happened to Harikesh Swami at that time, that he had to go to Russia. And he said to Prabhupada, what I will do? There is no devotees there. Even there is no vegetarian food. So I may have to, if there is only meat. And Prabhupada said, if you have to eat meat, but preach. So this is like, Prabhupada didn't really encourage meat eating, of course. But he was pointing out that this is a higher principle, pleasing Krishna and Guru. So that is the time that a devotee who gave up vikarma now have to give up what he is learning about Dharma. Everything that he learned about to be very nice, you associate with devotees, everything, but now I'm asked to give up association of devotees, and even if I have to eat meat, I have to eat meat, but I have to preach. That is the Sarva Dharma Parityaja. Just trust that Krishna will protect you. Have that full confidence in Rakshishatiti, like Krishna will protect me. So that's what my one point. I wanted to make that, to think always how the mind may misconstruct things and make us believe that we are actually losing something in order to take devotional service. But our situation now, 2013, is we are not like in the life of Bharata Maharaj. He's giving up a kingdom, and in a Vedic context culture, we are giving up a a society which is considered, according to Vedic standard, very sinful, and is killing the opportunity, the Atmaha, the opportunity of the soul to realize the mission of human life. Another, so Bhagavad Gita, anyway, if we, wherever we practice in devotional service, we will have another chance to practice devotional service. And one may ask, but if Bharat Maharaj was such a great devotee and he gave the body of a deer, but we are not Bharat Maharaj. So we are not going to be in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And this is a great example that is given to us to explain that it's not a cheap ticket back to Godhead, just, but you have to also earn it, and it depends on Krishna. But we see that anyway, Bharat Maharaj, the next life he obtained a body in a Brahmana family, and he was always conscious. We may not have that. We may be very lucky even if it happened to us something like Bharat Maharaj. Like he just became attached to a deer. Like for many devotees, that will be wonderful. Like sometimes we are practicing devotional life. If we are following the 4 principles and chanting our rounds, we think we are done. I'm great. I'm following the principles and I'm more or less chanting Hare Krishna. Maybe not pure, but I'm chanting. And we think, okay, that's perfect. And we will consider only that we are deviating from the path if we break the principles. I don't know, we practice some vikarma, but the situation of Bharat Maharaj wasn't vikarma. He was just taking care of a deer. It wasn't like the case of Ajamil. He was looking for a prostitute, or like Bilva Mangala Thakur. He was also looking for illicit sex. But Bharat Maharaj was he was just trying to be very kind. So this example of Bharat Maharaj is showing us that even if you think that you are doing very well in a spiritual life, it still is very fragile. It's like walking in a razor. Edge of the razor edge. Yeah. It's still the situation is still very fragile. Even if we are like Bharat Maharaj was in the stages of Baba, so we are just trying to. Many of us are trying to enter into anartha nivritti. Well, everyone goes very fast to Bhajana Kriya. Like we enter Sadhu Sangha, and then we take the principles of a spiritual life and get initiated, and then we may get stuck there for many, many years. And if we just do practice very well, like for a few months, we become very enlightened. So what to speak if we cannot hold being able to practice properly Krishna consciousness for a few months, and we may become proud. How can you hold being in the stage of Baba? How can you hold your? It's like if a person, you give a lot of money, and the person is not accustomed to have that. Immediately he becomes very proud and may start misusing that. So if we just practice nightly from a few months, we misuse that power. that come from devotional service. So what to speak, are we able to even hold higher spiritual levels? So therefore, Bala Maharaj was he was a pure devotee, and his mistake was very subtle. Like Maya enters like needles and comes out as a plow. No? So she just enters as an innocent deer. It's like when it may happen with a preacher. Like it starts by trying to preach to someone, just give a book, talk about Krishna, and then you may become entangled, and the person may be stronger than you, and may drag your consciences. And in the name of helping that person, one may start neglecting his practices, etc. So there are many ways. Like Putana, she enters in Vrindavan in a beautiful form, and everyone was attracted to her. Even the gopis, they were thinking that she was a demigod. So in the same way, Maya can enter that's the way it's like a terrorist can enter in a form of a deer, and for us will be whatever we like the most. Okay, can enter as an artifact, as a person. So this pastor is warning us that what you may think that is spiritual life or good association may not be. May be other things. So spiritual life. There is a story, I apologize, I don't remember very well, but it's, I read it long ago in the Krishna Katamrita, and it's about a cat and how do you say this? Eagle, I think an eagle. There was an eagle which was blind. Just to summarize, she was being taken. Some birds were taking care of that eagle. In exchange that the eagle will take care of the little birds. So because she was blind, the birds were bringing food for her, and all the cats or any animal who wanted to eat the birds will be like very afraid to come because of the eagle that was very big. They didn't know it was blind. So finally, a cat he wanted to eat the birds, so he made a strategy. So he approached the eagle, and he was very close to the eagle, and the cat was thinking, now I cannot go back because he can kill me still. So I have an idea. And so he approached, and first the eagle said, I will kill you because you like to eat birds. He said, no. And he started quoting Shastra, amazing verses. Like he first quoted a verse which explained that even an enemy in Vedic culture, you have to treat him very well and give at least some water or something. And he started utilizing the scriptures to impress the eagle and also to gain his trust. Then he quoted another verse that said, you cannot judge people by their caste. Like it's the kind of Chatuvarnyama, like it's not by birth, by jnana, it's by guna. And I'm a very saintly cat. I give up everything to pursue God. I do tapa. I do fasting. So he explained all his glories, and he continued quoting scripture in a deceiving way. And finally, the eagle became like very charmed, happy with that cat, and he was saying, "Actually, I never met a cat like you. you're a saintly cat. And you're very learned in the scriptures. I think you will be we can make a very good team. You can live in the tree. Here, there is a hall, and you can live there. I'm fine with you living here. So the cat said, oh, thank you very much. So every night, the cat will take some birds and eat them, the little birds. And then the fathers of birds, they will find out that we are missing our sons, and they will cry. And so finally, they find the hall, and they saw all the corpse, ¿cómo se dice? Esqueleto? Sí, skeleton. There are all the bones. And the cat ran away. They didn't see the cat. So what they did is to say, okay, this eagle looks like very saintly, but actually she's eating our birds, so let's kill her. So they killed the eagle. And the cat, well, so in the same way, like Maya can enter through so many ways and deceive us, and even as false association. So it can be very subtle how Maya will conquer us. But the idea is that Maya always enter very subtle and it come out and destroy everything. Means all our spiritual life. So this pattern of Bara Maharaj can remind us that no matter which position we are, Maya will be any time more expert in conquer us. Okay, I can finish here.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. You were explaining how after coming to devotional service, because life comes to the mode of goodness a little bit, so then we actually learn how to enjoy, quote unquote, right? Like going to bed early, there's nice feasts and things like that. So I was thinking in the path of devotional service, sometimes the senses come in contact with sense objects, that if you don't have the proper vision, it might end up derailing you from devotional service, right? Like for example, when we go out on books, and if you don't have proper vision, then because you're talking to so many young people, girls and boys, seeing their behavior, the mind, you could get carried away. So if we don't have that vision yet, that everything is coming from Krishna, everything should be engaged in Krishna's service, how do we maintain sobriety when we're engaging with so many sense objects in Krishna's service?
Yeah, therefore the Bhagavad Gita explained this same point, Dhyayate Vishayam Punsa, Sangat Sanjayate Kamata. Whatever we contemplate, we become attached actually with the object of the senses, which Prabhupada used that verse also to association, materialistic association. And so even if when we are going to book distribution or other service, we are contemplating objects that may provoke in us kama or lust. That's what you're saying, right? So the problem is not Sankirtan, first of all, we should know. The problem is when we stop doing Sankirtan. That's the problem. So like the problem will never be book distribution or Harinan or whatever kind of preaching we do. The problem is when we cannot keep focus on those activities because we get distracted by the object. So first of all, I want to clarify that it's not the service itself that is dangerous. It's our lack of commitment to that service that is dangerous. So our qualification to do that service. That is because the service is glorious. It's a Satatam Kirtayantuman. It's a service of Mahatmas. Actually, book distribution is a service of Mahatma, but can be performed by everyone. Like even the chanting of the holy name is an eternal activity of the residents of the spiritual planets. But it's an activity at the same time that can be practiced by everyone. So the activity of the Mahatmas, and doesn't mean that we are Mahatmas. So how we keep, we have to understand further. I am not a Mahatma. I'm doing book distribution, but I am. This is the activity of the Mahatma, but I am not a Mahatma. So I have to be careful and know to what extent I can go or not, which means first to understand the sadhana, how strong is my sadhana and how strong is my service. They have to be equal. Like if, for example, if you are like ISKCON Prabhu, he was sent to Russia, so the sadhana you will need there, like if you are by yourself, it won't be just around, so just chanting like that. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Bol Prabhu, Hare Krishna. What time is prasadana? Hare Krishna, like that. You have to be like really focused because you're in a most dangerous situation. But so in the same way, going to downtown, for example, all these places is not a joke. Because after a few years, you may develop new samskaras, but what you see there. So that therefore the one have to measure the sadhana that one is having with the kind of service. Like in Chaupati, I know that the devotees, they have a very... Here also we have, but I mean... I'm mentioning that just because I heard it in the way, put it in that way. It's not like we are not having that, we are having. But they have like a saying that they use the morning for Krishna. It's not a form, you can do it any way. But they have a very strong sadhana and association with devotees. Have to be more hours of association of devotees than be alone by yourself outside in the preaching. Like if you do 8 hours of association on devotees, then you can go 8 hours to preach. But if you do just 1 hour of association of devotees and then 15 hours by yourself, maybe difficult if you're not strong enough. So let's Krishna said, the mind, when the mind is going to another point that is not Krishna, you have to bring it again by practices. And Prabhupada said, explaining the purpose that this practice means chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So many devotees develop in Sankirtan the technique of learning mantra, for example, of chanting Hare Krishna in between the persons. Remember, I used to also have a car. And sometimes in between persons you chant a mantra like that. They have many techniques to don't get distracted. So any service may have different techniques to be focused on. Other devotees, they just stop. Never stop to stop people. So there is no time for. And they don't talk much with people because they are given the idea to give the book, so you just keep the conversation in 2 minutes, 3 minutes, because then becomes also, you can get distracted. You start talking, and the point that is given the book, you may lose that point. So there are some ways that can be fixed. Okay, some person is going more than 3 minutes, thank you very much, this person is calling me, and then you go to the next person. If the person is very favorable, just stay time. Every Sankirtan devotee will have different ways, but we know that the devotees who stay more time are the ones who know the more Prabhupada's books. If you talk to like devotee like Parameshwar and others who have been doing Sankirtan, or Brigupati, Prabhu, they are very strong in their conceptions of the philosophy, and they love. It's not like they distribute books, but they know the books very well, etc.
Fragile. And at the same time, we are hearing from the devotees that we are to be fearless and move forward. So it seems to be contradictory that how can we be fearless on the fragile path?
Oh, but it described that Jadabharata was very fearful, not fearless.
From Jai Jagannath Prabhu, that we have to be very confident and be very fearless to move on this path. And today I'm hearing the same thing. It's very fragile.
Yeah, because it's a different context. You are fearful of Maya because you know that you can be deviated at any time. Like Jadabharata, he didn't even want to associate with anyone. But in the context of being fearless is more on the qualities the Bhagavad Gita speak. That because you are confident of Krishna, you can take risks in order to preach, for example, etc. But at the same time, you are fearful of Maya. Prabhupada said that the Westerners are not fearful enough of Maya. That we like to play with Maya. Like going very near to, it's like going to a precipicio, ¿cómo se dice? To a cliff and look at this and then like a plane and then come back and like this. So that kind of fear is not Vayam Dvitiyam Viniveshatasya, the fear that you see something different from Krishna that can harm you. But it means that you are fearful of seeing something different from Krishna. You are fearful of mistaking who is the controller. Maya Dakshina Prakriti, everything is being controlled by Krishna, but we may start thinking in another way and start making another type of plans for it. Like Nishinha, the prayers. There's prayers to Lord Nishinha Dev in the 7th chapter that the devotees use. They pray to Lord Nishinha to destroy all the material desires. So that kind of fear is like fear to my material desires, like fear of the mind. Like Rishabhadeva explained that the mind should be treated like an enemy. Like even if you conquer your enemy, you have to watch out all the time, because at any time he may I don't know the word, cheat you. So that kind of fear, it's a different fear. It's not Abhay Charan, like Srila Prabhupada's name. Like he was free from fear because he took shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. This is the fearlessness because I'm completely like Prahlad Maharaj. You can throw me from a cliff and I'm very confident because I'm remembering Krishna always. So it's more like a fear of forgetting Krishna, that kind of fear. Thank you very much. I think it's, we passed time, so can be tomorrow. Srila Prabhupada ki, Srimad Bhagavatam ki.